When we were preparing for this episode, I was just telling Erin before we got on, I was having such a hard time thinking about which productivity systems, like, or things I do that really help me be more productive. But I think that actually speaks to the things that I do because they are so integrated into my day to day to where I really don't have to think about them. I know they help me be more productive and I just do them and they help me work more seamlessly. Like they're very low, not low lift, but yeah, they're kind of just like seamlessly integrated into my day. So I'm excited for this episode and to share them. And as you're listening to this too, if there are any systems that you guys use that help you be more productive, please let us know in Spotify because I feel like we can all use more. Mhm. Absolutely. I completely agree. Okay, let's just get straight into them. I feel like we have very different ones. When we're filming this, I literally landed from my trip to Chicago last night and I was trying to like think with like the one remaining brain cell I had on the plane, what my systems were and put them on this doc. And then I finished it this morning. And like I said, it was kind of challenging to think of them because I'm like, they're just so seamlessly integrated into my day that I don't really think that hard about the fact that I'm doing them. But I was reading errands trying to like see if it would help me kind of like spark something in my head. And I was like, we actually have very different systems. So I feel like this list is very well rounded for really everyone listening. So, okay, I've talked about this one on the podcast multiple times over the years. And it's something I started doing, I think almost 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And it's helped me a lot in maintaining momentum. The type of person that I am when it comes to productivity, I'm really big on momentum. So if I don't feel like I'm not motivated to do something, I just have to force myself to start doing things and like get a lot of things done really quickly, like attacking a lot of small tasks. And that gives me the momentum to then like keep going and really lock in to being productive for a longer period of time. And I often would find when I was looking at my to do list of things to do, it was just like, I don't know, I'd be like, oh gosh, like what do I do? Where do I start? So a couple years ago, I started labeling all of my tasks. In parentheses, I write the estimated time to complete. So it will say, for example, concept for brand campaign, parentheses, 1 hour, write show notes for podcast, parentheses, 20 minutes. And the reason that I do that is because if I'm in a moment where I'm like, I really need to be productive today, but I'm not feeling like I have any momentum. I look at my to do list and I pick those like 20-minute tasks and I knock a bunch of them out back to back. And that gives me the like momentum to really lock in. Or if I'm feeling in a mood where I'm like, I just really want to crank out a task right now, I want to have a really solid focused work block. I find the tasks that are going to take me a little bit longer. And I'm like, okay, let me put my headphones on, lock in, get this task done. So instead of me looking at my to do list every time, being like, I don't know where to start, or like, okay, well, I don't remember, I put this task on my to do list a few days ago, but, is the brief for this campaign really long and specific? And so that concept's going to take me 2 hours, or is it simple and I have an idea already and it's on the doc and I just have to like really flesh out the script and it's going to take me an hour. So I like having that to reference. I think it just makes it a lot smoother. I feel like to get into the task and to work through it. And I've actually heard a lot of you guys have like messaged me over the years saying that you've started to do this on your to-do lists as well and that it really helps with just visualizing your day. So yeah, that's like one of the things that I was like trying to think. I'm like, I do this without even thinking, but it does actually help a lot. Yeah. Absolutely. And some days too, I think also one thing with productivity systems in general, the systems that you use to be productive are going to change in different seasons of your life. And also, it's like I used to use a physical paper planner when I was in college, and that thing was like my everything. That was my source of truth. Everything went in that planner, and I loved it. It was an amazing system for me. Now, I don't think it would work as well. And I'm more of like a digital person. I don't even use a digital planner. I use my calendar and a to-do list to manage everything, which my to-do list is just like I use Pages and Notion to organize everything. So like your systems are going to change, and when you find that a system's not really working for you anymore, don't like just switch it up. Don't feel bad of like, "Wait, why isn't this working anymore? Something's wrong with me." It's like, no, you're just changing as a human being and you're in a different season of life. You just need a different system to support it. And to your point, some days when I'm not feeling as motivated to get work done, or sometimes if my longer tasks are things I quite frankly don't want to do or I don't feel inspired to do, then I'll start with the small ones and knock them out and get momentum and then lock in. But then other days, I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, I feel so creative right now. I am going to do my focus work block first and do that long 2 hour task. And then I'll do the admin things at the end of the day. But I like having them labeled. It just helps me see, like, depending on whatever, no matter how I wake up that day, I can see, okay, if I'm feeling more creative, this is my big task of the day that I need to do, the 2 hour thing. Let me get that out of the way. Or if I'm waking up and not feeling that way and I need momentum, then I'm like, okay, here are my small things. So I like that it's kind of flexible in that way. And it also helps if I need to. People always ask me, how do you manage your days in the sense of how do you know, how do you make sure that you're getting to do all the things you need to do and working like a full day, especially when I had freelance clients? Like, how do you ensure that, you're never taking on too much work and budgeting in the right amount of time? And I'm like, well, because I label everything by time. So every day I'm putting about I would say 6 hours of work on my to do list each day. And I can see the numbers because I label them and I can add it up and see how much time it takes. And then that leaves 2 hours for like lunch break and miscellaneous tasks and answering emails, things like that come up to fill a full 8 hour workday. So I like that aspect too, because realistically I'm not doing 4 2 hour long tasks a day. It's just too much on my brain. So yeah, I think it helps with that as well, like kind of budgeting my time to be productive.
Voice noting myself about ideas that I like didn't want to miss, or I was voice noting about, okay, here's my thoughts for the content that I'm going to post this week, and not just like the overarching idea. You're like getting in the weeds about like what the idea is, where it came from, your thoughts around the idea, a proposed hook, like giving it a lot of detail to where my voice memos end up being like 20 to 30 minutes sometimes. And then I just copy that transcript and I put it into AI and say, like, here was my voice notes from this morning. Can you just organize and summarize what I said? Because I think the problem is you have an idea. Your best idea is right when you have it, because that's when you are the most excited about it. So capturing it in that state is the most important. If I were to just have those ideas and not capture them and then later go and try to write the scripts based on what I think I want my content to be, it's going to be such like a watered down version of my idea by that stage. So that has been one of like the most beneficial things for me and my business. And I think, I think when I talked about this the last time, either on the podcast or in content, you get the feedback that's like using AI for like all of your ideas. And it's like, no, the ideas are yours. AI is just the thing that is helping you remember your ideas and capture them and keep them in that raw, excited state to make sure that it doesn't become a watered down version of your ideas.
Yeah, I think I literally my like second thing on my list is very similar to this. So kind of just adding on to it. I think that when you work for yourself and by yourself, there's really no one to bounce every creative idea off. Like if you think about companies who have social media teams, they have teams of people that are like ideating on all of the content that they put out there. So you're bouncing these ideas off of people. When you work for yourself, it's like literally just you. And so when you have that excitement about that creative idea, you can't just like there's no one to go run to and be like, "Oh my gosh, I have this idea. Let's like jam on it and like in the moment really go back and forth and flesh this idea out." But like you said, capturing in the moment, even if you're just recording that voice note and like you're just keeping it so you can listen back to it later, which like listening to yourself speak for 30 minutes is like feels like so long. But yeah, having the transcript and then having AI organize it is so helpful because you don't have another human being to say it to and then they're holding on to that idea and then thinking about it and whatever. I do like kind of a similar thing where I will voice note things if I'm struggling sometimes to get my like thoughts from my head onto paper, like I'm trying to write a script or write out an idea for something or whatever, and it's just like not coming out. Like because sometimes what will happen is I'm thinking instead of like thinking about, or how do I say this? Instead of thinking about what I'm thinking about, instead of just thinking through the idea and writing it down, as I'm trying to write it down, I'm trying to put it into script form and like polish my thought. So then I have a hard time actually translating my thought from my head just onto the paper because I'm too focused on trying to put it into script form immediately. So sometimes I will just like brain dump it onto paper, put a whole big mess of text, and then go back to it in another moment when I feel like I'm now in the script mode. Or I will talk into the AI software that I use called Poppy. And I will literally, or I'll do it into Claude too. I'll just, same thing, do like a big voice note in there of like, this is what I want to talk about. This is really the point that I want to make. Here's like why it matters to me. Can you just make bullet points of like what I just said and like what part of this is like the biggest like point of tension so that I can then be like, okay, when I go to make this script, I'm like creating the beginning of the script based off of this and I'm getting up to this point of tension. And sometimes I will even say to it, like to AI, like ask me questions that make me think harder or deeper about this. Because sometimes it's like I have this one idea, but then I'm like, it's not translating into a script and I just need to think about it in another way. And again, I don't have a team of creative people around me that I'm like bouncing these ideas off of. It's just me. And that helps me stay in the moment where I'm really excited about the idea, but then like go a layer deeper. So then when I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. I'm like, you just asked me this question in response. Yes, like that. Okay, now my brain is like going even more and I can like get into the script. So I feel you though. I feel like the feedback of like, oh, is AI writing your scripts? It's like, no, it's my they're all my ideas. It's just helping me like make a bullet point of my ideas or like I don't know, be able to organize my thoughts. Yeah, remember them. Yeah.
Yes, I was just doing that this morning when I was in the bathroom getting ready. I just like had AI open and I was like capturing voice notes and half of it too. Yes, half of it is that you have a thought partner to, you have version one of your thought and then you plug that in, you plug a 10-minute voice memo in, it's all jumbled, and then it bounces a thought back to you, and then you get version 2 of your idea, and you keep doing that until you get to a finished product. But I think the other half of it too is a lot of people are verbal processors. I was having a conversation with this startup founder that I work with, and he was saying that a big benefit of him growing a team for his company is that he is a verbal processor. So being on meetings with his team when he's like brain dumping ideas or throwing things out there, yes, it's helpful to get ideas back, but it's also helpful for him because speaking ideas into existence is how he generates more ideas. He's a verbal processor. And I was like, wait, I actually think I am too. And I think a lot of people are. So when you're just thinking of ideas or like trying to write them down, or, you know, you have your Notion doc up with like, here's all my project ideas for the business that I want to start. Sometimes it's hard to, go a layer deeper and actually think, what's the root of this idea? Who is it trying to help? And just kind of like answer all those questions that way. So I think developing systems for capturing your ideas, it's another one of those things where everyone's brain is going to work differently. Maybe you're not a verbal processor. Maybe you have a big Notion doc for your projects. It's really just about like, what is your system for capturing your idea in the rawest, most excited state, and making sure that it doesn't become a watered down version of your idea before it becomes a finished product.
Also too, I feel like I forget, not that I forget my own ideas, but sort of like I will have an idea and I'll be so excited about it. And I also weirdly always get the best ideas when I'm driving to and from specifically appointments, like doctor's appointments. I'm like, why am I sitting in like, I'm in the elevator going out to my doctor's appointment and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, wait, this is a good one. I have a good one. Like, and so it's like, but then I will not, after I leave the appointment, I will be trying to like recall. So I'll sometimes like take like written notes as well of like what my idea is. But sometimes I think that because I personally, and I don't know if it's connected to my cycle or what, I haven't like totally noticed a pattern, but I have times of the month where I feel like I have a million ideas. And then I have times where I have no ideas whatsoever. And so trying to in those moments where I have a lot of ideas, I try to flesh them out as much as I can so that when I'm in the seasons where I don't feel as creative, I'm not having to like, it's not like I'm taking it from idea to finish type of thing. I'm taking it from finish to like fully executed. So in the sense of a video, for example, when I'm feeling super creative, like the other day I was on the plane flying to Chicago, I wrote scripts for like 5 or 6 videos in this Nosy Numbers series that I'm starting. Because I was on one. I was like, oh yeah. Okay, we're feeling very creative. Literally today is like day 2 of my period. I'm in so much pain in this moment. The last thing I want to do is script a video out. However, I do need to like edit something and put it up today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, cool. Now that I'm not in this like super creative mode, but I can edit, like that's fine. I feel good doing that because to me that's a different, like feels like a different part of my brain. I already have all these scripts done. So I think that, having a system for capturing your ideas, and also when you're in that mode of feeling like you have so many ideas, get them all recorded in some way in that moment and flesh them out as much as you can, because then when you're not feeling that way, you already have all of it there. It's also helpful for me then to see like, oh, okay, like this, I might have not had this idea in this moment right now, but I had it like a little while back. And that makes me now think about this. Like, I want to get more into doing more podcasts and speaking is something we've both talked about. And that is helpful for me to remember, and also helpful for the AI tools that I'm using to know, okay, that's something that I want to do. So then when I'm thinking through this next idea, I'm recording this next idea, like my AI tool will remind me like, hey, like remember, like this is a priority for you. So maybe you film this video like talking to camera, or, maybe this angle, or like, why don't you're talking about your finances, why don't you bring up that you have these goals as well that like might not generate you revenue, but it's something that's exciting to you. That in itself would be really cool to add into this video. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? You're so right. Like having a place that records all of it and can bring it back up when you might have kind of forgotten it too is really helpful.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to move on to my next one because we both kind of talked about capturing systems for our ideas. This is a little bit of a different lens, but it's something that I did a couple of weeks ago that actually has been such a game changer for me in a couple of different ways. So I used The AI tool that I use is ChatGPT, but Claude also has a version of this. Like it's Claude Cowork or ChatGPT Work. It's basically instead of the chat version, it's where you can integrate your tools into Claude or ChatGPT and they can actually do work on your behalf. And it's really cool. It can do a ton of different things. There's so many use cases for it. But one thing that I had it do for me is I had it set up a daily email that it sends me to my personal email that is a personalized like morning brief almost. And basically the prompt that I gave it, I mean, it was a very long-winded prompt, but I'm summarizing here. It was around this idea of like, I want to do a better job of staying up to date with things that are going on in my industry, like how people are talking about my niche, how people are content that they're producing around my niche or articles that are being released. And I said, however, I don't want to spend my mornings doom scrolling in order to find that information. So I gave it a bunch of parameters. There's like 3 different sections. One section is like recent articles that have been published in my niche. Another section is Reddit threads and like TikTok content that's being produced in my niche. And it's not like high level, it's actually like very in the weeds around like, here's direct quotes, here's like exact things that are people are saying, this is verbiage that they're using. So not only am I like staying up to industry trends, but I'm also like getting more in close proximity to my target customer or my target audience member because I'm getting content that they're directly putting into the universe, either again, TikTok or Reddit primarily. But this has been so helpful for me because one, again, it helps me get into close proximity, but then two, it's like giving me a morning routine that's actually like very beneficial. I can click into all of the articles. So now I'm like reading more articles first thing in the morning and I have it send me that email at 8 o'clock every single morning. And yeah, so it's been like a really good way to start my day. I've actually been really enjoying it.
Yeah, when I was looking at your list of things and I was trying to think of like what the heck I do to be productive, I was like trying to come up with these again with like one brain cell. I'm like on the plane and on my period, and I'm like, I don't know. I was like, well, I'm gonna need her to send me the prompt for this because I feel like to your point of, because again, I feel like there's this like people give the feedback of like this is all stuff you could do yourself. Like you could do this without AI. And it's like, yes, but the amount of time it would take to just acquire all of that information every single morning would be astronomical. That would take so long to find all of those things, but it is wildly beneficial to you as an entrepreneur. And yeah, I don't know. I was like, wow, I really need to do that. Especially with newsletters. I want to read all these different newsletters, but it's like it would be nice to have it kind of like extract the like main points from some of the newsletters that I subscribe to, and then I can be like, oh, okay, this one really piqued my interest today. I'm going to go read it in full, or like this one did not pique my interest. I'm going to skip it this week or whatever. But also knowing what is going on in your industry is like really smart, because also with our industry on social media, to try to acquire that information, like you said, would require doom scrolling for hours and hours and hours trying to find that information. So I think that's actually a good, because then you can dive deeper into it,
I think the benefit too is that it sends it to me daily. I have it set up to do 7 days a week, but you could do 5 days a week if you only want to read them during the weekdays. But then you can also give it feedback. So like if I read one and I'm like, oh, this actually like wasn't super beneficial because, this topic is a little bit not what I need it to be. Or like for example, one of them, it was way too like founder coded. Because one of my like main pillars, obviously this podcast talks to ambitious women, entrepreneurial women. However, I would not consider my target audience like someone who considers themselves a founder. I'm not really targeting people who are trying to build the next billion-dollar startup. That's just not me. So I gave it that feedback and I was like, hey, this is a little bit too founder coded and like not exactly my target audience. So I gave it that feedback and the next one was perfect. So you can keep like iterating on it to make sure that if you are using this and it's sending it to you every day, it's actually something that you want to read and actually something that you can extract a lot of useful information on.
Yeah, I think regardless of industry, that's like super useful. Yeah, after we get off today, I'm gonna need you to send me that prompt because I need that. I do need that. Okay, my last one on my list. This is like so simple. I was really trying to think again of like what systems I use to be productive and what things that I do that help me be productive without thinking about productivity. I'm not thinking about, okay, I have to like do this specific thing in this specific order or whatever. They're just seamless things. And I've talked about this in the podcast before, but I think it's worth re-emphasizing. Focus work blocks are the best thing. And this is probably going to sound really simple and somewhat stupid, but I need you to get some noise canceling headphones if you don't have them. Okay.
No,
This
I
is
agree
like,
with this. I
like,
totally agree with this.
like I know,
Even if your apartment is silent,
yes, even if
still
it's
put them
silent,
in your ears.
because okay, I have AirPods that are like extremely old. I don't even know like what, like 7 years. They're so old. Okay, I've had them forever, but there's no reason for me to get a new pair. They work fine. They don't have the noise canceling feature on them. Okay, and several months ago, I got a pair of Sony over the ear headphones in PR. Damn near shat my pants because why is Sony sending me PR? Like I was like shook to my core. So I get these headphones and I didn't know if I was going to like them or not. I would pay my own money 4 times over for these headphones. I would. They're like the XM6, I think is what the name is or something. I am obsessed with them. When I say they are noise canceling, I mean like I enter like another dimension when I turn the noise canceling feature on. My most productive times are when I literally, if I'm like, oh, I need to lock in today, I sit down at my desk, I put the headphones on, I play some sort of music in them, and I put the noise canceling on. My apartment is not loud. There's like street noise because I live in the city, but like it's not loud. It's not distracting to me. But like I said, I literally enter another dimension of focus and productivity when I have these damn headphones on and I'm like committed to one task. And I can get like a day's worth of tasks done in the span of like 3 or 4 hours simply because I'm able to focus so much more. And I was like, I don't understand because it's not super loud outside. It's not like my apartment is loud. It's not like I have roommates or a dog running around barking or something. But apparently, even the little like faint noise that you might hear from like street noise or I don't know, just little sounds around you. Your brain is actually like monitoring those things all the time in the background, kind of subconsciously. And so when you take those sounds out, your brain is actually able to like fully focus on your task more. I didn't know that was even a thing. Like to me, it was like, duh, yeah, if I'm in a coffee shop and it's loud, putting my headphones on helps me focus. But it actually makes such a massive difference, even when it's just like white noise almost in the back. I'm obsessed with them. I think that it is such a good, because it's kind of like an on the go system. I can kind of like take the headphones with me wherever I go. And then if I need to lock in, I just pop them on and focus. But that makes such a difference. I like, yeah. And it's the best feeling ever when I like take the headphones off after I just got like 4 hours of productive work done. And I'm like, yeah, like I did that. Like I just had the most productive 4 hours of my life. Like
I love that.
Yeah.
I am an AirPods girl, but I also love the noise cancellation. Even when I'm in the
Mhm.
gym, half the time
Yeah.
I'm not listening to anything. I just have my AirPods on in noise cancellation mode and I just like love the silence.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll even put my AirPods on to like clean just in
Yeah.
silence. I don't know. I've
Yes.
been getting like very overstimulated lately and just like need the silence all the time. But I agree with you. I think noise cancellation is when you're trying to do a focused work block where you're like, no, I really need to be creative and like execute for the next 2 hours. I think noise cancellation headphones are
Oh
the
yeah.
best. But maybe I'll need to just try some over the ear ones. I have these ones for the
Yeah.
podcast, but this is not.
These
These
are like
$10 ones.
yeah,
from
like cheap Amazon ones. I honestly, I had a pair of like, what were they, Beats, like back in the day, and I would wear them to the gym. I don't even know if they had noise cancellation. I would just crank them all the way up, but I would always wear them at the gym and I loved them. But then at the gym, if I was doing anything where I had to like bend over like an RDL or like push-ups or something, the headphones would like fall off my head. So I just, yeah, I mean, they were Beats and they were like old, so I don't know, but they would kind of fall off my head. They wouldn't stay in place. And so I just kind of swore off over the ear headphones. I was like, oh, they're just not like going to work for me. And then I got the AirPods and the ones I have don't have noise cancellation because they're so old. But I'm like, I don't need to buy a new pair. They're fine. So when I got these headphones, I was kind of like, okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to like them or not, but I'll give them a try. And I am obsessed. I also will wear them when I am cleaning my apartment because I don't know if sometimes I just feel like I have like bird brain where I will be doing things and I'm like, oh, and I need to do this. Oh, and I need to do that. Oh, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm half done all 5 of the tasks and I haven't finished anything. And so I will put my headphones on and I'm like, okay, laundry. And what was the episode where we talked about the like the Dern model of like do it right now and then finishing tasks to completion. I don't remember
have no
what
idea,
a
but I
title
remember
of
us
the
talking
yes,
about
I
that.
don't remember what episode
Sorry,
it
that's
was.
entirely
Yeah,
unhelpful.
no, yeah, I don't remember what episode it was. If you guys remember, please let us know. But because a lot of you guys actually found that helpful, but I will literally put the headphones on and I'm like, okay, laundry, finish task 1 to completion, lock in. And I'll just like literally lock in on that task. And I find myself getting way less distracted to where I actually do like, I clean my apartment more efficiently. I work more efficiently. I wish it was acceptable to wear them like out in public, like in the grocery store, because I probably would spend way less money because I wouldn't get distracted by all of the things. But
I do
I
wear
love
my
them.
AirPods in public, especially at the airport, noise cancellation the
Mm,
whole time.
yeah, they're more
It's super
discreet than like a big
yes.
over the ear, but yeah, I love them and I think it's a good I think, you know, we talk about how you get your best ideas oftentimes when you're not at your desk, but then sometimes it's like, okay, when I sit down at my desk to actually do the thing, you still have to be productive in order to take that idea from idea to like, you know, execution and to completion. And so I feel like I have systems that I use when I'm away from my desk, like capturing my ideas, you know, via voice notes. But then I also have ones that when I'm sitting at my desk, it's like, okay, what am I doing? If I'm feeling really, you know, exceptionally fidgety in a certain day and just like, I don't know, like I need to be kind of like moving around more, I will use my walking pad as well. And that's like an elite combo of walking pad, noise cancellation headphones, and a focus work block. I'm like, no one speak to me for the next 2 hours. I am doing big things. Okay.
I love that. Mine kind of goes off of that a little bit, and it's just this idea of work mode batching. So, obviously, it's going to be more productive to batch similar tasks together because, like you said earlier, scripting a video versus editing a video, that uses two different parts of your brain. And if you're listening to this and you maybe work a full-time job, but then you're also trying to do something on your own, especially batching similar things together is going to be really helpful because I know I used to fall into this trap of I'd be working on my full-time job and I would feel like I would have it in the back of my brain that I needed to be working on my own stuff. But then I would switch to start working on my own stuff and then I would feel guilty that I wasn't working on my full-time job stuff. So just like building better systems around grouping similar tasks together based on the parts of your brain that you use and then batching it to get ahead on certain areas so that you can focus on other areas. I've been thinking about this a lot lately too because I just like went through a phase where I didn't leave my house for like 2 weeks straight. It was after the wedding. It was like raining for 2 weeks straight and I just like sat in my house in sweatpants. And after those 2 weeks, it's like, Erin, something's got to change. Like I have been staring at these walls for too long. I haven't talked to a human in 2 weeks. Like something has to change. So I went to a co-working space on Friday with my friend Cami, who is also a full-time entrepreneur. And we had like the best day ever. The co-working space was beautiful. We got so much done. And it just made me think a little bit about my systems around work mode batching to really set myself up for success to go there once or twice a week. And what I mean by that is like, obviously, when I'm there, only certain tasks can get done because certain tasks involve me filming things, but then also certain tasks require my big desktop, which I obviously don't have at the co-working space. So it's like, how do I build better systems around batching things together to where those 2 days a week where I'm at the co-working space, I can be my most productive self in the tasks that allow it. So I just think that that's like definitely when I'm in seasons of doing that, where my filming days are boiled down to like 1 or 2 days a week and then the other days of the week are like kind of grouped together too. I think that that's definitely when I'm my most productive self.
I feel that because I think that even some days when I go to film and I try to put myself together every day, but realistically, there are days I look like a rat at my desk. And the days that I don't, when I actually put myself together, if I'm going to film a video, I'll try to film multiple in that day because usually, again, being such a big momentum person, once I start to film, I'm like, ooh, now I want to film. Now I have more ideas. Now I feel chatty. Now I want to talk to the camera. And so I'll like film a lot more. And then days when I'm more in my scripting brain, I will do that too. Or certain places I feel like I script better, like on a plane. Oh yeah, give me my Notion and I will script a bunch of things out, but editing on a plane I don't particularly enjoy. So I don't know, I think there is something to be said about batching based on, you know, and also too, I think about this so much. We should have a guest come on and talk about this, like with being a woman in your cycle and certain times your cycle feeling more productive than others. I don't want to film my face in my luteal phase. Like, and it's not because I feel like I look some type of way. It's just I don't
Yeah,
feel
you don't feel like it. You
I
don't
don't
feel your
feel
best.
great. No. Versus there are times of the month where I am so creative and I am like, oh my gosh, I want to get into my editing and like really play around with the software, or I want to script a million things because I have so many ideas. And I think that almost kind of like I batch almost sometimes throughout the month where I'm like, right now is when I'm going to script a bunch of things because I'm feeling so creative. And next week, I'm not really going to script that much, but I'm going to focus more on editing all of these things because I don't feel as creative. And I think that is a really good approach too. It doesn't even have to be batching based on, Monday I do this, Tuesday I do that. It can be different times of the month that you focus on different things, but batching is like a big productivity hack too, because it does minimize the context switching that your brain has to do to go from mode to mode.
Totally agree. I think we're going to cut this episode here because we have so many things to film. We have a lot coming up. We have a lot of
Yeah.
exciting things coming up too,
Yes.
because I'm going down to Florida next week and we're going to film so many episodes in studio, which I'm so excited about. But with that, leave any productivity systems that you've been using in Spotify in the comments on this episode. We love reading your ideas too. I feel like it gives us so much inspiration, not only for what to pull into these episodes, but also literally to use in our own businesses. Let us know what's been working for you. You can also leave any questions that you have for us in Spotify on these episodes. We like to pull your questions into our monthly bonus Q&A episodes that we do on the last Friday of every month. So feel free to leave us questions in Spotify as well. But with that, thanks for tuning into the podcast, and until next week.